Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video over on Ark Survival Ascended, and in this video I am going to show you everything you need to know about Ark's newest creature, and that is the ARCHELON. They are incredibly powerful creatures, and there's a few things that you really need to know about them, kind of similar to the bats that got released recently. Interestingly enough, they actually produce something called algae that lets you make an overpowered item in this game. I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know about them, and yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. But if you don't mind, smash that like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm, and then consider subbing to the channel. All right, so this is the ARCHELON. In order to tame them, all you have to do is use some Cnidaria venom or toxin, whatever you want to call it, or some kibble that's superior quality or better, and you can just passive tame them as they swim around in the ocean. Obviously, you can see that they are very large creatures, but they count as like a mid-sized creature because they take like a debuff or something along those lines, because I don't know if like my character gets smaller. I feel like it gets a little smaller when they get on the creature, but that's just what I think. So obviously you can see this is the ARCHELON. It swims very quickly in the water. It is not faster than many water dinos, but it does have a little bit of speed in the water, and obviously uniquely enough, it can get out of the water and then go up onto land like you just saw. So you can tame it with either superior kibble or Cnidaria toxin or jellyfish toxin, whatever you want to call it, right? You can get that, put it in your hotbar like I have this kibble in my hotbar, and tame them. You can pretty much find them anywhere around the shallow areas that you see coral inside of this game. They'll be like near the shallows and the coral, and you can just go ahead, hop in, feed them some kibble, and then tame them. They're pretty simple to tame. Now, their saddle itself is a little bit funky. The ARCHELON saddle, just so you can see, is unlocked at 45. It's not super expensive. It does have 4 passenger seats that you can have, and it also provides oxygen, just like an oxygen tank. So like running underwater drops is much easier with one of these things. So that's kind of unique. That's for certainly something that you would want to keep an eye out for. And then its stats, right? So now that we've talked about most of what it does, its saddle can get up to 120, so it can be useful for tank because it's got a really high health base. This is a level, what? I think I tamed it like level 30 or something like that, and it's got 12,000. So a 150 bred imprinted would probably, my guess, be comparable to like, I don't know, I guess like a stego for health pool. So it gets pretty high. So it's definitely something that can be used as a tank, especially because its saddle and height of it will allow you to block some bullets from the bottom and front level. The stamina is fine. I wouldn't worry too much about that. Food, again, not a valuable stat. Weight, it's got this is an unleveled weight stat, 1,180 for a low level ARCHELON, and its weight goes up rather significantly. So if I go ahead and add EXP, let's go ahead and add experience. Let's just do like, I don't know, 100,000, whatever it is, whatever, you feel like. So did that really not work right there? Add experience? Am I crazy? Oh, okay, there it goes. I was like, what just happened? All right, so you can see that the base weight goes up like 250, give or take, or like 100, maybe it's like 150-ish per level. So that's a really good base level increase on the weight. And its melee damage, even though it actually reads as 666, is not very good. It does not do damage to things. Do not bother leveling its melee. Its melee is such a small output that I wouldn't even consider it as something that you use for melee damage. Now, it does basically one-tap all Cnidaria because it gets a jellyfish boost when it's near jellyfish and kills them. So that's the one thing in the ocean that it gets a boost from killing the jellyfish. And the benefit of that is they actually can't be stunned in the ocean. So you will not be stunned by the jellyfish, eels, things like that. They're stun proof inside of the ocean. Now, they will not be able to outrun some of the more dangerous things like a Mosa or a Plessy or anything along those lines. They're kind of dangerous, so that kind of sucks. But yeah, let's go ahead and go in the ocean and show you what I mean by this, right? So you hold C and you'll just dive down like you would normally. And the cool thing is that you can see that it will provide me with oxygen while I'm down here. You can see this little oxygen bubble right over here. This oxygen bubble essentially indicates that I'm able to use the ARCHELON air bubbles, which prevents me from having to worry about any oxygen when I'm down in the water. Now, obviously I'm in GCM, so you can't see that, but that's a unique feature that this guy does have. You can see stamina is pretty solid. You're never going to be really attacking too much, so stamina doesn't need to be focused too much. The very, very high health pool is something that's definitely going to be capitalized on by people, especially on official servers, where you can get a very nice base level ARCHELON with some good speed will be pretty valuable for trying to raid some tribes. Now, obviously, you'll be able to get Nidaria as well, but none of those reasons are the thing that you really want to tame this guy for. Now, let's talk about what you do want to tame this ARCHELON for. So the big thing that you really want to tame this ARCHELON for, let's go ahead and go to the surface here. You can hold spacebar. It'll automatically go up to the surface and like breach the surface. Now, what you're looking for is algae. So algae will passively grow on your ARCHELON as it just sits there. Now, it'll grow much faster when it's inside of the water. When it's on land, it grows a lot slower, but if it's inside of water, it grows about 5 times faster. I think it's like every 2 or 3 minutes, it'll actually grow some stuff on its back. Now, it will not be something that's in its inventory, so it'll stack. So that's a really neat feature. You can see this one allows me to collect 2. And then 42 minutes, 18 until algae is fully grown. Once it's fully grown, it can no longer actually provide more. So you can just grab a large chunk of algae. And once you grab that algae, it looks like this. And you can see that is what the algae looks like. It only lasts 20 minutes per individual thing. So you will have to keep that in mind. And this is why that algae is so useful. You can put it inside of an industrial cooker or similar and make sushi. Now, sushi is something that can be used in order to boost a dino's taming effectiveness. So you can use any sort of creature, knock it out, do damage to it. You know how it has the taming effectiveness reduction. You can force feed it some algae sushi, and using this on the dino to boost its lost taming effectiveness will bring it back up to 100% if something happens or anything along those lines, right? That's a huge, huge benefit in order to just have some in your hand, because sometimes things happen or you accidentally hit one or you shoot an arrow after it's already knocked out. There's a lot of things that could actually happen with that. So yeah, definitely keep some of that sushi on you. It's an amazing thing adding that to the game. With the ARCHELON, it's a really cool feature because it's just a quality of life thing that makes more of a, I mean, it makes PvP a little bit entertaining, because for people that are on quick servers instead of like long-term official, it's valuable, but on official, not super valuable. But again, sushi, super cool thing with that taming effectiveness in order to keep that capitalized. So yeah, pretty neato. So ARCHELONs in general, pretty cool creatures. The babies, I believe, have to be fed jellyfish toxin. That's the only thing they can eat unless they change that from the actual mod itself. You have to be careful about that. They cannot be bred in the water. They have to be bred on land because they're considered air breathers, I believe, as well, unless they change that from the mod as well. But I believe they can also only eat jellyfish toxin, similar to like an otter or something along those lines, where you have an unusual food source in order to feed them. So definitely keep that in mind. But yeah, pretty cool overall creature. Has a lot of raw things that can be tested. The things that I can see it being used for on official servers for PvP will be because of its speed and ability to carry 4 people underwater. You might be able to sneak it behind something and use it to use tech rifles or something underwater in order to raid a base. It's got enough speed where you might be able to like C4 push something just by drinking a little bit of beer in Ark, and then hard pushing a wall maybe. It's got enough health to tank, so you might be able to get them on land. I'm not sure if it can be thrown by a Carcanos, but that's that. In a PvE aspect, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, because for me, things like this are really unique because they're just fun, because they give you the ability to make that sushi, obviously, which is pretty cool for taming effectiveness. And then it also gives you the ability with this guy right here, and obviously we're almost there, to be able to go on land and in the water and use oxygen. So there's a lot of valuable purposes for PvE, but less so much for a PvP purpose. Maybe I think that people will get the health on these pretty high and they'll be pretty valuable raiding tools, but I think that that might be a little bit before that's super useful. So that's kind of everything you need to know. Super easy tames, nothing super complex about it, but they're really neat creatures because they add that sushi into the game. And yeah, just a cool little like thing to be added into the game with the 4-seater as well, because 4 seats is kind of fun, especially if you're playing with a few buddies and you all go down underwater. Anyways, hopefully this video is something that helps you out, and if you don't mind, smack that like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm, and then consider subbing to the channel. All right, Teach out.